Okay, so we're looking at another video on sampling techniques, and there'll be some questions obviously at the end. So obviously we want to get a random sample, so we choose a sample at random from the whole population. This next one has got some good maths in it, so it's called stratified sampling. So we're choosing representatives at random, again it has to be at random, from different groups in the population in proportion to the size. So for instance, an example might be if there's 100 people in the population and 60 are women and 40 are men, and you only want to survey 10 people, then you need to pick 6 women and 4 men so that they represent the proportions in the group. Okay, so that is called stratified sampling, so copy that and come across. Next one's called cluster sampling, and that's when you choose groups at random, choosing groups at random from the population as the sample. Okay, so cluster. Systematic sampling is when you choose representatives from the population by taking each nth person. Now nth is like a number, so taking every 20th person or every 10th person to make up the desired sample size. And again, we'll show some examples on that one. So we'll show examples for the stratified and the systematic. Okay, so we've got a company, we've got 34 office staff, 23 store staff, and 43 delivery staff, and by coincidence that adds up to 100 people. Okay. How many of each type should be chosen to make a stratified sample of 10? Okay. So what we do is we say, well, the office staff, the store staff, and the delivery staff, there's a percentage. So we've got 34 out of 100 is the proportion. And we times that by 10, so that gives you 3.4 people. We have 23 out of 100 times 10 equals 2.3 people, and 43 out of 100 times 10 equals 4.3 people. So if you're just rounding down, the answers would be you need 3, you need 2, you need 4. Now obviously that doesn't add up to the 10 people, but that's the closest balance to the actual numbers. So if you needed to have 10 people, the closest number to the next number is the 4, as you think from the 3s. So you'd have 4 people, 2 people, and 4 people. But theoretically, you're over-representing the office staff a little bit. Okay, but that's how you would do it. So the actual answer is you take 9 people, but if you had to take 10, then you take the number that's closest to the next number up. So copy that and come across. Okay, so if you're using a systematic sample where you're taking every nth person, you start at a random spot in the list and you start counting from that person. And if you go past the end of the group, then you just go back to the start and then just keep counting. So that sounds a bit complicated, but when you have a look at the example, it'll make more sense. So we've got numbers between 247 and 395, so we need to work out how big the group is. So to do that, we go 395 minus 247, and then you have to add 1 to get how big the group is. If you just subtract that number, those numbers, you're 1 short. So that gives us 149, if you do that calculation. Okay, and then we want a group of 20, so 149 divided by 20 is about 7. Okay, so we're going to take every 7th person. And then what you do is you just pick a random star. So it doesn't matter. So if I was going to start at say 328, which is just a random number, the next number would be 335, and then 342, and then at some stage you're actually going to go past 395. So we'll keep going, but the last number actually is 391. And then if you go past 395 and then go back to the start of the group, the next number would be 249, and then 256. And finally, at the end, for the 20th person, it would be 312. So you just have to keep filling in those gaps, counting every 7th person. But what happens is at 391, we go 391, 92, 93, 94, 95, and then we go back to 247, and we end up at the 249 person as the first person after the start. Okay, so that's just how you would do it. So copy that and come across. Okay, so there's an exercise to do, exercise 902, questions 4 to 5, and that's it. Bye.